When life gets complicated and doubts start to weigh heavily on the heart, many people feel lost, not knowing where to turn. In those moments, looking up and talking to God can be the first step toward finding a little peace. There's no need for complicated words or intricate rules. It's just about opening your heart. Sometimes we think we need to resolve everything on our own, but there are times when the burden is simply too great. That's when faith comes in, bringing an indescribable relief. Starting the day with a simple prayer can change the way we face our problems. This doesn't mean that difficulties disappear like magic, but they feel lighter when we know we're not facing everything alone. So, how about taking a little time early in the morning to talk with Him? The beauty of invoking God is that there's no wrong time or right place. It can be in the silence of your room, the noise of the bus, or even in the midst of a tough decision at work. The important thing is to connect, even if it's just for a minute. We live in a rush, our minds filled with worries, and often forget that there's someone greater taking care of everything. Talking to God isn't just about asking for help. It's also about thanking Him for what has already passed and for what is yet to come. This creates a strength inside, a calm that helps us see things more clearly. It's not about a religion full of rules, but about a moment that's yours, personal. Try starting your day this way, with a sincere word, and see how your heart feels lighter. Doubt is something everyone faces. There's no escaping it. Sometimes it comes small, like a silly uncertainty, but other times it arrives like a whirlwind, throwing everything into chaos. In those moments, stopping and breathing helps, but adding a prayer into the mix can truly make a difference. It's as if we hand the problem over to someone who understands more than we ever could. It's not about giving up, it's about trusting. The day feels less heavy when we share the burden, even if it's just in thought. And the best part is that it doesn't require practice. You just have to say what you're feeling. God listens, even if we think we're speaking alone. Starting the morning this way is like building a shield for the rest of the day. There are days when just waking up is a battle, with 1,000 thoughts racing in your mind and a tight heart. But it's exactly on those days that invoking God can be a breath of fresh air. Doesn't take much, sometimes just saying, "Help me," opens a door. We don't see Him, but we feel when something shifts inside, even if it's just a little bit of hope. This doesn't solve everything right away, of course, but it gives us a direction to follow. The morning prayer becomes a calming habit, like a warm coffee for the body, but for the spirit. And the best part is that no one needs to know. It's a moment that's just yours. Little by little, you realize that difficult situations don't bring you down as easily. It's a strength that grows slowly but supports you. Difficult situations are part of life, no one escapes them. It could be a problem at work, a fight at home, or even uncertainty about the future. In those moments, despair hits hard, but that's when we can stop and call on God. It's not about waiting for a miracle to come down from the sky, but about finding the courage to face whatever comes. Prayer becomes a refuge, a safe place within ourselves. Starting the day by speaking with Him is like preparing for whatever may come. It doesn't matter how big the problem is, there's always a way to deal with it when we feel we're not alone. And that changes everything, even if little by little. It's a confidence that builds up in your chest. The great thing about talking to God is that there's no judgment. We can share everything, even what we wouldn't tell anyone else. It's like pouring out the weight of the heart and letting Him organize what we can't. The morning is the best moment for this. Before the day swallows us with so much rushing around, a simple prayer just a few minutes long can make the day start differently. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be genuine. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes, like a chat with a friend. And slowly, the doubts that seem gigantic start to shrink. It's worth trying, even if it's just to see how you feel afterward. Life is full of ups and downs, and there are days when the downs seem to last forever. But invoking God can be like turning on a light in the darkness. It's not that problems disappear, but we gain a new way to look at them. Starting the day with this connection brings a peace that no one can quite explain. You just feel it. It's as if the heart becomes stronger to withstand the blows. And it doesn't take much effort, you just have to speak what's on your mind. The morning prayer turns into a ritual that helps maintain balance. Little by little, you notice that difficult situations no longer dominate you. It's a small step that leads to big changes. Everyone has gone through a situation where they don't know what to do when doubt tightens and fear grows. In those moments, turning to God is like finding a safe harbor. It's not about having all the answers, but about feeling that someone is taking care of you. Morning is the ideal time to take that pause and talk to Him. A sincere prayer can transform the way you face the day. No matter what's happening, there's always room for that connection. And the best part, no one needs to understand. It's just you and Him. Over time, you see that the strength to face everything comes from there. Try it and feel the difference. Doubts and problems are like uninvited guests that show up anyway. And when they arrive, we can choose between sinking or asking for help from above. Invoking God isn't magic, it's a way to strengthen ourselves from within. Starting the day with a prayer is like putting on comfortable shoes for a long walk. You don't know what you'll face, but you're more prepared. It's something simple that anyone can do, wherever they are. The important thing is not to keep everything to yourself, but to share it with Him. Little by little, the feeling of being lost diminishes, and the heart thanks this lightness. There are times when we wake up already feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders. On those mornings, talking to God can be what keeps us standing. There's no need for beautiful speeches, just a true request is enough. Prayer becomes a moment of relief, like letting out a sigh after holding your breath for too long. And the day which seemed impossible gets a chance to be different. You don't solve everything, but you learn to carry things in a lighter way. Doing this early is like planting a seed of calm for the rest of the hours. Gradually, it becomes part of you, something you can't abandon. It's simple but powerful. Doubt likes to make noise in our heads, but faith knows how to quiet it down. When you invoke God, it's like telling yourself that you don't need to have all the answers right now. Starting the day with a prayer is a way to organize yourself inside before facing the world outside. It doesn't matter if the problem is big or small. Talking to Him helps put things in their place. Little by little, you feel less alone in your battles. It's a silent conversation that changes the way you see life. And the best part is there are no rules. You just have to be yourself. Try it once and see how the day flows better. Difficult situations appear without warning, but we can choose how to deal with them. Talking to God is like getting a map when you're lost. It's not that the path becomes easy, but you know you're not walking blindly. The morning prayer becomes a habit that brings security, even on the grayest days. Just stop for a moment, breathe, and say what's in your heart. You don't need much, just the willingness to open up. Over time, you realize that the problems don't knock you down like they used to. It's a strength that comes from within, slowly and steadily. Those who have done this know what I'm talking about. Life doesn't come with a manual, but invoking God can be the guide we need. There are days when everything seems to go wrong, and that's when a prayer makes a difference. Starting the morning like this is like adjusting the compass before heading out to sea. You can't control the waves, but you know where to paddle. It's a simple moment, but it carries good energy for the rest of the day. Talking to Him is like conversing with someone who will never judge you. Gradually, the doubts that weighed so much begin to seem smaller, and the heart finds a way to move forward. Try it and see how it is. When the outside world is chaotic, looking inward and upward can be the way out. The morning prayer is a way to prepare to face anything. It's not about solving everything, but about gaining strength not to give up. Just a moment of silence and some sincere words to feel Him nearby. We don't always see the change right away, but it happens gradually. It's like watering a plant. Growth comes with time. Doing this every day is building a foundation that no one can knock down. Those who have felt this know its value. Doubt and difficulties are part of the living package, but we don't have to carry them alone. Invoking God is like calling a friend who never fails. Starting the day with a prayer is taking a step to set fear aside and embrace courage. You don't need much, just an open heart and a quiet moment. Little by little, you realize that the things that used to scare you don't have that much power anymore. It's a peace that grows and sustains you. Experiencing this in practice changes the way you face everything, and the day feels lighter, even with challenges. There are times when life tightens, but talking to God loosens those knots. The morning is the best time to make this connection before the rush takes over. A simple prayer already opens up space for a calm that no one can explain. It's not about being sure of everything, but about trusting that it will work out in the end. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes, like breathing. The problems keep coming, but you no longer sink as easily. It's a strength that grows slowly and carries you. Those who have lived this understand its worth. No one escapes the crossroads of life, but invoking God helps to choose the path. Starting the day with Him is like turning on a flashlight in the dark. You may not see everything, but you see enough to take the next step. The morning prayer becomes a ritual that centers you, even when everything seems chaotic. Just say what you're feeling, without filters, without fear. Gradually, confidence takes the place of doubt. It's not magic. It's something you build every day. And the result is a peace that no one can take away. Try it and feel it for yourself. We often stumble upon problems, but talking to God is like standing up with more strength. The morning is the perfect moment to ask for that strength before the day swallows you whole. A sincere prayer already changes the atmosphere within us, bringing a relief that calms. It doesn't matter how big the difficulty is, there's always a way to face it with Him by your side. Little by little, you realize you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. It's a small habit that makes a huge difference. Those who already do this know how good it is. And you? Have you thought about starting? Life is a roller coaster, and there are days when the descent is frightening. But invoking God can be the brake we need to keep from losing control. Starting the day with a prayer is like balancing yourself before rushing off. You may not solve everything, but you gain the energy to continue. Just stop for a moment and say what's in your heart, without complications. Gradually, the doubts that used to scream start to speak more softly. It's a fortress that forms inside you, step by step. Those who have felt this peace know what I'm talking about. Try it and see how it changes. When the day dawns heavy, talking to God is like taking a backpack off your shoulders. The morning prayer becomes a breath, a moment to find yourself before getting lost in the rush. You don't need big words, just truth in what you say. This gives you solid ground to stand on, even if everything else is shaking. Little by little, you realize that difficult situations no longer break you. It's a silent force that holds you up. Doing this every day is like building a bridge to cross any river. It's worth trying. Doubts and difficulties are like rain. They come without warning, but we can choose to open the umbrella. Invoking God is that shelter that protects us from the storm. Starting the day with a prayer is preparing to face whatever comes, with or without sunshine. Just a moment of silence and a sincere chat is enough to feel Him close. It's not about eliminating problems, but about learning to dance in the rain. Little by little, you see the weight decrease and hope grow. It's a habit that transforms. Just that simple. Those who already do this can't live without it. Life isn't always fair, but talking to God brings a balance that nobody can explain. The morning is the best time for this conversation, before the world steals your peace. A quick prayer already lights a spark amidst the confusion. You don't need to understand everything, just trust that He does. Gradually, the things that used to bring you down start to seem smaller. It's a strength that comes from within, slow and steady. Experiencing this is the first step to feeling the difference, and the day already begins with a different vibe. There are days when just waking up is a challenge, but invoking God can transform that. The morning prayer is like coffee for the spirit. It wakes you up from the inside. You don't need much, just a moment to connect and express what weighs on your heart. This changes the way you face the following hours. Gradually, doubts turn into questions you know will have answers. It's a peace that settles in slowly, but stays. Those who have lived this know how valuable it is. How about starting the day this way and seeing what happens? When life catches you off guard, talking to God is like finding a friend in a crowd. Starting the day with a prayer is taking a step forward, even without seeing the whole path. You don't solve the problem right away, but you gain the strength not to stop. Just open your heart and let the words flow. It's that simple. Gradually, fear gives way to confidence. It's a habit that takes you far, one day at a time. Those who have felt this energy don't let it go. Try it out and see how good it feels. Doubt and fear love to walk together, but invoking God separates this duo. Starting the day with a prayer is like cleaning a foggy window. You see better. You don't need much time, just a genuine moment to talk to Him. This gives you a push to face whatever comes. Gradually, difficult situations become steps, not walls. It's a calm that grows and holds you steady. Those who do this every day know the power it holds. How about testing it out and feeling it for yourself? Life is full of surprises and not all of them are good, but talking to God helps you face everything. The morning prayer is a way to arm yourself with courage before stepping out into the world. Just stop, breathe, and say what's on your heart, without complications. It's not about having all the answers, but knowing someone is listening. Gradually, you realize you can carry any weight with Him by your side. It's a strength that nobody can take from you. Try starting the day this way, just for today, and see what happens. There are times when your heart feels so tight that it seems there's no way out. In those moments, invoking God is like opening a window to breathe. Starting the day with a prayer is giving yourself a chance to start over, even with everything messy. You don't need perfect words, just a sincere request. Gradually, you feel the weight getting lighter, almost without noticing. It's a connection that lifts you when everything wants to bring you down. Those who live this know it's real. How about being part of this and transforming your mornings? Life doesn't wait for us to prepare, but talking to God is like gaining extra time. The morning prayer becomes your moment of strength before the day sweeps you away. Just express what you're feeling without fear of being wrong, and He listens. This gives you the energy to face whatever comes, whether good or bad. Gradually, doubts turn into just a low noise, and peace takes over. It's simple, but it changes everything. If you haven't tried it yet, today could be the day. Subscribe to the channel and come discover more ways to start the day with lightness.